And if you go there the most, you get to be the mayor.
Good. Yeah. Lisa. There is a better way to do this, I'm sure.
I feel like we've come back to one theme in a lot of ways, and you just touched on it in your remarks as well, that to make this happen, whatever advancement, change, growth, innovation, whatever, we need to marry up lots of different people. We need to marry up the real innovation-minded people. We need to marry up the education people and the technology people and funding people. And in several conversations today, I have felt like, gosh, these two people need to work together or talk together or collaborate, but there's this like gulf between them, and how can we close that? And I realized it at the beginning, I think from comments, but I keep hearing it coming up. So I just sort of want to name that and pose it to the group that maybe one of the things that we need to think about coming out of this afternoon and evening is, I mean, clearly we have a lot of those people in the same room here together, but the scale of bringing these various groups together to really make systemic change is like a massive scale, and what does it look like to combine those forces? I find the most interesting stuff is happening where one person or one organization has all of those assets together and speaks multiple languages. But clearly we can't expect everybody to be everything. I mean, that's just not realistic. So anyway, I just challenge out.
Okay, we're going to move towards convergence mode. So Dan, and then I'm going to converge us.
So I just wanted to respond to what Russell had said about like the educators and there's involvement in this process of focusing on the educators. Is anybody here familiar with Instructables.com or WikiHow or, I don't know, Wikipedia? These are not resources that are created by formally trained educators with an expertise in pedagogy. These are people who have knowledge to share and are doing whatever it takes to share it. And I think that there's a wealth of information in the Jewish community that a lot of people are eager to share their knowledge in one way or another. And a lot of that content is going to suck, but there's going to be a lot of content that's actually good that comes out of it. Like the platform that I'm about to launch, Jew It Yourself, uses a platform that allows people to post their own lessons online for teaching other people how to do Jewish stuff. It's not coming from a formal pedagogy. It's not a formalized plan for how to, educate people in the most effective means possible for the 21st century. It's about giving people an opportunity to share information with each other. And when Lisa was talking earlier about like the radical democratization of media brought about by the internet, this is just another example of that being embodied. And I think we have to keep in mind that that's an increasingly popular means of educating one another, and it's not necessarily that we're going to teachers, who are professional teachers.
Most of these are words of living God and things like that. It's not different.
Right. Great. Of course, my old friend David Fishman.
Hey, Steve. The thing that you used to, that's that. Summarizing thing.
I want to try to comment about. Oh, good. Please do. Okay. I'm going to comment about how I can't do it. But let me hear yours.
Okay. So I'm hearing, of course, the afternoon. Teaching the key elements of education, the learners, the educators, and the milieu, of course. Where we heard that before, and I hear about the tools for aimed at each of these, and it's helpful sometimes to distinguish among them. So we have tools for learners. Those are skill-set building tools, language acquisition or text acquisition, or modes of critical thought, like Mamash Larashi. Start thinking about what Parshanut is and different commentaries, common terms, engage with text, or how do you break up the elements of the sugya. These are skill sets, concepts. Okay, that's one way of cutting it. Another one is looking for tools for educators. such as tools for curricular development and lesson plan development, and working to incorporate best available technological resources in your lesson plan. And here I'm referring to that's something that George Blumenthal funded at NYU a couple of years back. I don't know if it's still going, where he worked with where there were groups of educators who spent the summer learning how to integrate web tools, pages into their lesson plans on an ongoing basis. And the third, of course, is the milieu. And here is, I think, Jeffrey, where I think there is something quite different going on with the in this part of change, that there are more options and for milieu teaching. So you have the autodidact, which clearly coming up here now. You always had autodidact, and now it's easier to be autodidact at all times of the day, etc., at any place. You also have distance learning, and there have been lots of initiatives in distance learning, many of which have not worked particularly well, but there's a learning process, and the problem is, what do we learn from the failures of distance learning to try and do it next? And it's expensive, by the way, distance learning. So leave aside funding. You have, aside from distance learning, you also have distance guiding, which is one of the, this is, I think, one of the indeed paradigmatic shifts that is invoked by the interactive environment, where a teacher is no longer a teacher, is a guide who's helping it, as a tutor in a college in Oxford. You see each other on a regular basis and you talk about moving things forward. Obviously, you also have potentiating much more in the way of home learning. This has come up again, another way, another type of milieu where teaching takes place, but is potentiated in Spain relative to what we had in the past. And of course, then there's distance peer-peer, for the interactive algorithms. For all of these types of different milieu, we need different sets of tools. Some of these tools exist in the general education world and need to be tweaked in particular ways for Jewish education. We also have working cases of where some of the learner tools exist in various forms in the general world, and we have to be in the case of the college, the online Tanakh. And certainly in the area of curriculum development for teachers, there are such tools, and again, it needs to be tweaked. So I'm just trying to bring some clarity to what I've been hearing on.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to with Jeff Chandler's help, I'm going to try to wind this up here. And David was very kind, at least in pointing out, I don't know if it's my skill, but my mission, which is trying to make things, tie things together. And I don't recall having been at a conference with me in this situation where I was, in the nicest thing, so challenged to try to do this. And I've been thinking about why. I'm not sure if that's your experience. Maybe it's my lack of familiarity with the topic, which could be impeding me. But I sense that, I don't know if we made a mistake, but I sense that there's a disembodied discussion here, and I'm not sure which components are missing. We're talking about education. Maybe it would have been better to have education for something, whatever it might be, like text learning or spirituality or Israel, social justice, whatever it might be, some topic, and say, well, how is technology being used or could be used for that specific purpose or for that specific audience or for those specific teachers or in that context. I just named the four, Joseph Schwab, often cited by Seymour Fox, Oliver Shalom, commonplaces, context, curriculum, and students. So something for me, at least, was lacking in the coherence of the conversation, which made it very hard to walk away with a takeaway. And David, I thank you for trying. It came close. It didn't succeed.